Welcome into the Immigrant Podcast. Program brought to you by Nothing But Net International. It's a pleasure having your time today. All right, man. So, like 50 million people, apparently, 10 million new homes in America. We watched the fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul the other night, last Friday, via Netflix. And, I got to say, a lot of people are talking about the buffering and the breakdown and the coverage itself. That happened a lot, but that's because there's a lot of new people logging on to Netflix, and they have millions and millions, hundreds, probably millions of streamers that already pay for the service. And then lots of new streamers, I'm sure, came in for that one night, for that one fight. So, sometimes even the hugest companies aren't ready for that moment. But me personally, I won't give them a hard time for that. I got to watch most of the fight. I think it buffered for about a minute and a half total for us. Yeah, we were watching it here at the crib in Las Vegas. And overall, we got a good program. We got a good show. Now, the fight itself between Mike Tyson and the other guy, Paul, that wasn't a good fight. Hopefully, going forward, we won't see Mike Tyson in the ring again. The legend, he's always going to be iconic, and we want to remember him the way he is. I know a new demographic of young people got to see him for the first time fight, so I'm happy for them. And I'm also happy that he got his $20 million. I'm one of those guys that when you're making money, especially as a black man in America, at his age, and he's been consistently doing it for 30 years, props to you, bro. So, but we don't want to see you fighting again. We'd like for you to enjoy the rest of your life, go into a career filled with great things, movies, entertainment. I know you got a cannabis company, so we want that to grow. That's something that I might delve into the future as well. So yeah, that's a good thing. That's what we want from Mike Tyson. For Jake Paul, yeah, I mean, the truth of the truth, he's getting better as a boxer. But is he a boxer? I can't say so. I think whatever weight class he would be fighting in, the majority of the guys in his division who are real fighters, who are legitimate fighters, who have been doing this for a long time, they would give him a lot of trouble. And but the thing about boxing and why this program is about boxing today, I don't know if I highlighted that at the start, but this program is about the state of boxing, particularly the heavyweight division. And the reason why it's in flux and it's the way it is, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but it's because of how the organizations and how the sport itself is being run. Now, we have all these different organizations within boxing, and then there's no specific head of the snake like you do for UFC, like with Dana White. You can say whatever you want about UFC, but at least the final say, he's like the commissioner of the league, which you have in the NFL, NBA, and the MLB. The final say usually comes to him, and he's been very good at making a final say. We don't have that in boxing. A lot of guys over here, promoters over here, boxing commissioners over here, they have a lot of say in what happens with any specific belt or title or weight class that's being levied or fought for. And we're not getting the best product on a consistent basis when it comes to the sports. We don't ever get the two best fighters fighting each other in boxing anymore, or hardly do we say. And when it does happen, as in the case of Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao, a fight I was very privileged to be able to go to, it's usually comes a little bit too late in their prime, is when both boxers are past that 35-year-old, close to it, and are waning in on the end of their career. So we're going to see people like Jake Paul. We're going to see a lot of these exhibition fights going because the brutality of boxing is still something people want to see, but the entertainment of the boxers themselves aren't being shunned by the promoters. They aren't being exposed to the world by the boxing commissions that run the specific organizations, or commissioners that run the specific organizations within boxing. So that's why we're missing out on the best fights, the best boxers, the best duels we can see in boxing. Look, when was the last time we saw Terrence Crawford fight? When was the last time we saw Gervonta Davis fight? Guys like Ryan Garcia, they talk a lot, but how often do they fight? It's a different era of boxing than the ones we had in the past in the 80s and 70s, 90s, where you had the Sugar Ray Leonards. That took me a while. The Marvin Haglers, the Roberto Durans, and even after that, when you had Roy Jones. 90s was a good era, but that was the last time we saw heavyweight boxing with, let's say, Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, and of course the Mike Tyson. I'm sure Buster Douglas and a couple of the guys would want to put themselves in the mix because they beat Mike Tyson, and they competed against those other fighters as well. So, what do we have to do? There has to be some sort of organization set that runs overall boxing. We can't leave it up to specific promoters or specific commissions to get the best of the boxers that are currently out there. I know for a fact that they got great boxers out there. Great boxers that a lot of people haven't even heard of. And if we had a proper organization that was built for these boxers, they would get the spotlight because they wouldn't be discarded because of what promoter they're fighting for or which country they're from, or who promoted them in the past and who wants to promote them in the future. And I think that's what's happening in boxing these days. So we got to get those guys like Bob Arum, and Don King. I don't know if he's still prevalent in boxing. And even the new guys, they're not as great. De La Hoya is a good promoter. He's good for promoting himself, but not necessarily for the sport of boxing. And we heard recently about Floyd Mayweather's fighters complaining about the status of their contracts or their futures. How are they getting their fights in current or down the road? So something that has to be done about the state of boxing, not just the heavyweights, it's every division.